I had to start painting a little bit because I had to wait for my computer to get its shit together. It did not want to behave, but I haven't done a lot. And today I'm planning on finishing these feathers. I finished the other side the other day, and I am looking forward to having this done. I do have to finish it before Christmas, and I still have to put the finish on so that the paint doesn't wear away as easily in the weather, because that is pretty likely to happen, honestly. And we want to prevent it as much as possible because the colors are so nice. We like the colors. I might move my mic a little closer. I've got headphones in today so I can hear my own output, and I can actually hear my music. Thank goodness. We know how frustrating that was for me last time when I was the only one missing out on the fun music. But this time, I think I'm getting the hang of it just a little bit. And missed a couple spots there with the blue. I'm just kind of taking inventory of what I need to do. That's got to change colors. I'm going to start by putting the black in, because each feather has some black. Let me show the other side looks like. And I've also got my palette today, as you can see, so beautiful and clean. Just kidding, it's not. But the other side here, please excuse the noise. We've got the finished side with the feathers. That's what it's going to look like when we're done with it on this side. So I'm a bit of a mess today, but that's okay. We'll just keep going. I actually kind of like the vibe of listening to my own voice. I'll put this a little closer. Get a little ASMR here with this whisper. And hopefully the moving of everything isn't too disruptive. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. So we've got that done. Now we're going to put a base coat of black on each of the feathers. I need like a quieter surface. Don't mind all of my rustling. Okay, just listen to those chill beats. Yeah, it's the winter solstice. Very fun day for us here. The longest night of the year has passed. Something to celebrate. Now the days are going to get longer and longer, starting from today, which I am super excited about because I've missed the sun. Not that I don't like the winter, because personally I'm one of the people who adores the winter. It brings out the inner child in me when I can go and play in the snow. And I'm really hoping that the snow that we got this week lasts until Christmas. Not to mention there's supposed to be another snowstorm coming sometime this week, so I'm looking forward to that. But today, let's see, I need to make some black stripes just to kind of guide myself as to where the black is going to go. And over here on this side, this feather has like a bit more of a shape to it. And I'm going to cover that up. I'm just kind of giving myself a guideline to kind of work everything into. In fact, I think that needs to be up a little higher. Yeah, that's pretty good. And then the next row, I'm just going to kind of follow this curve in a second. The black is so nice though, especially when it's nice and thin like I've got it right now. It spreads so easily, it just kind of has the consistency of ink. Very satisfying. I hope my art streams can always be this chill, because I kind of like this vibe that we've got going on. How exciting. We've got a pretty chill thing going on today. And also I'm not in the mood to put on makeup or be overly flashy today. Today's just one of those days where you gotta enjoy the weather, you gotta enjoy the seasons and how they change. And honestly, if I could be in my PJs all day today, I would. But I am also delivering presents to neighbors on the street later today. So I can't be in my PJs all day, unfortunately. I'm gonna try and sit a little closer to the mic. I gotta find a better, position for it. OMG, hi! Oh, I'm so excited to see you here. Welcome listening to my chill painting. I listen to some chill lo-fi beats. And I'm trying to make this as nice background music or sound as possible. I don't know why. I just am today. I didn't put any effort into my makeup because I'm just trying to get this done for Christmas. So that's why I look a mess. Don't mind me. The first time I've ever streamed without makeup on, but whatever. Gonna see it eventually, why not today? Plus, I'm not the kind that believes I need makeup, and I don't know why I keep apologizing for not wearing makeup, because honestly that kind of contradicts what I've been saying this whole time. Oh, that's so funny. I'm glad you like the vibes. Come chill with me. That is great. Now you can listen to my voice with the lo-fi beats while you work. Or take a break or do whatever you need to do. You know. That kind of thing. I'm glad I can actually hear the music this time. I might look funny with my headphones on, but it's worth it. It's just only taken me a week to get used to this whole streaming thing. That being said, I'm still not completely used to it, and there's a lot I could improve upon. But I'm very excited to still be here doing this, and excited to continue. And I'm trying to imagine where the next lines are, because I want them spaced fairly evenly. So there's a good gap between each one, so the next one would probably be behind this feather here, and then the next one would come across. Now, this blue I kind of put in the way accidentally, or it was a mistake, honestly, but according to Bob Ross, there are no mistakes, just happy accidents. So we're just going to paint over that, and we'll get it looking the way we want it to look. Then we'll have the equivalent over here somewhere. I keep wetting my brush, though. You only hear my voice? Alright, let me turn up my music a little bit. I have got it pretty low because I didn't want it to drown out my voice. But let me try, actually. That's not coming through. Why is it coming through my mic audio only? That's weird. I guess. Oh, okay, hold on. Now we're getting something. I'm still working on it. Still working this whole thing out. There. Can you hear it now? I should be able to. Oh. Oh, good. Thank you for letting me know. Right after I say that I'm just gotten used to streaming, I still have difficulties. So call me a liar. But as long as we got it working now, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. And I think we can get back to painting. Thank you. Yeah, this is the vibe I'm going for. Chill. Not at all like my gaming streams. Although I like those to be kind of chill too, but at the same time, it's not going to be quite as chill as Artstream. I like the idea of doing both. I have to just check real quick. Should I do it all the way to the end? Yeah, I did. Okay. Cool. Don't mind the noises there. This table just lets all noise through. So that's where I'm going to keep that as far as the black goes on that feather. And then for this feather, all the way at the top. It's got a very similar shape. There's a Stardew Valley update on PC. Is it coming out on the Switch at all, or is it just PC, or is it going to be coming out on the Switch and not on the Switch yet? I hope it comes on the Switch. What is the update? Do you know? If you feel like typing it all out, otherwise I can just look it up myself. That's for sure. But what's involved in the update? Anything interesting? I'm gonna have to do these lines again. That's fine. Ooh, beach farm. Ooh, sprinklers would be, because sprinklers are like lifesavers basically in that game. Interesting. I will have to check it out. Maybe I'll do a Stardew Valley stream. I could always start a new game. And I would be totally up for doing multiplayer streaming as well, where I can stream on my side and can modify the mining rates. Interesting. That sounds more of a PC thing, the mods at least. I think not as easy to mod on the Switch, which is fine. Endgame content. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm for my video game streams I've been doing Morrowind lately, just because I've never played it, but I am totally open to doing a whole bunch of other games. Especially on Grab Bag Fridays. It's really just a what am I feeling like doing today kind of thing. So if I'm feeling like Stardew Valley that day, I will for sure stream it. Fridays are pretty fun. I'm messing up this line so bad. I will definitely stream Stardew. I love the multiple messages I'm getting. Saucy. Oh, but today's a good day. It smells like cooking downstairs. We've got pulled pork barbecue started. I'm making my best recipe. There is a holiday Friday, isn't there? Shit. Forgot about that. Yeah, I'll probably do it, gosh, if there's no Friday stream, I'll probably move it to a day over the weekend, or maybe before Friday, maybe on Thursday. I'll have to check what I'm doing, but yeah, I'm fine with moving it because of the holiday. I can't believe I totally forgot. I'm trying to finish this for Christmas, and I didn't even remember that Christmas was Friday. Oh gosh, I'm just so focused on solstice today. It's such a nice vibe in the air. Apparently, there's also a planetary conjunction going on right now. Supposed to occur with the same as supposed to occur the same time as solstice. But apparently there are two planets that haven't been in alignment since, gosh, I think they said it was like hundreds of years. And today they should be perfectly aligned, and that's, yeah, so from what I heard, these two stars, when they line up, they make the North Star that theoretically would have been the one seen in the guiding light at Christmas, the Christmas star. So this could be the first time since Jesus was born that we're going to see this conjunction, planetary conjunction. But if I'm wrong, which I could very well be, I'm not claiming to know anything, but this is just what I've heard, rumor mills, all that jazz. We're supposed to be having quite the winter. We've got solstice today, longest night of the year last night, planetary conjunction, and we were even able to see the northern lights down here in Massachusetts like a week ago or something, which was crazy. My parents and I went driving at night, which was totally fun vibes, just because it was chill and it was dark and it was cold and I loved it. But we drove around looking for the northern lights, and I actually saw a bit of the green on the skyline, which was really, really cool. And I don't know what's going on in the world right now, but I'm feeling it. I'm happy. I'm in a generous mood. I want to be making things for everybody. Mostly because I'm broke. I don't have any money, so I'm making things for people this year. But that's okay. Coronavirus does the weird things to all of us. And I've been absolutely content staying at home away from coronavirus and just vibing. Well, doing art, making things. This might be a long stream today, because I'm just gonna go until I finish this, which is fine. I mean, all of my streams last week were an hour or so each, and I don't want to keep it so short. I do want to kind of do something a little longer, and as I get used to this, I'll probably do an actual timed schedule where I will be streaming at certain times. Well, I'm glad everybody likes those homemade gifts. I'm so surprised you're like chatting in the stream chat so much, because I know you're working from home, but I would not be able to multitask like that. Not that you wouldn't be able to, obviously. I suppose I am kind of multitasking by streaming and painting. At least it is hard to talk and paint at the same time, sometimes. Music helps, though. You're so bored at work. Yeah, it doesn't sound great, fun, but I'm glad you can join me, that's for sure. We're gonna have these feathers finished today, so that tomorrow I can put the finishing touches on them, drill the eyelets into the top, and hang it from our mailbox. It's going to be our little farm sign. I don't know if people who don't live in rural areas know about this, but in more rural areas we have just farms around, and they all have these signs on the front of them. Like, gosh, I can't even remember the names of some of the farms that are around. There's like, what is it, Terry Diddle Farm, and they have like a sign with like their logo and everything, and the name of the farm, and it's always hanging in front of the house, just like by the road, so people who are passing can see the sign and know which farm they're passing, because there are just so many. And that's speaking from, rural Massachusetts. It's not like, the middle of farming country, but it is fairly rural. So my parents have a nice stretch of land. It's not like gigantic, but it's a good size for a rural area, And we've got chickens, and my dad and I do beekeeping. So we have lots of things going on that are very farm-like. We had a bonfire around Halloween, which was really nice. And I guess at this point, I mean, at one point we had Angora rabbits that my mom would take their wool and make into yarn, which then we would then either like knit or crochet or weave, like not clothing but like wraps and shawls and stuff, and we would sell those. So we were producing farm things, you know. And we're still producing honey, and we're still selling eggs because we get so many, that kind of thing. And so we kind of started looking at our house as kind of like a farm, and we've been doing some gardening for a while too, so we're trying to be self-sufficient. Oh, not to mention, can't sell it, but we have been making wine and mead as well because of the honey, and we found Concord grape vines in our backyard, so I started making wine as well. So I can't legally sell it because I don't have a liquor license, which is fine. I don't know if I'm going to sell it at all, or if I'm interested in selling it at all. I don't have a lot that I can make, and it takes a long time, so I don't think we're like ready to become a brewery just yet. But we do kind of look at this place as a farm, and the name that my parents kind of adopted for this place was Two Hawk Farm. And every time I say that, people don't understand me. I don't know what it is about my accent that makes it difficult to understand that I'm saying the word hawk. Hawk. But it's happened multiple times now, and so I figure I just have to be extra clear. So it's Two Hawk Farm, as in the birds, which is why I'm painting the two red-tailed hawk feathers on here. And so for Christmas, my mother asked for a sign for the farm because she's been calling it Two Hawk Farm for quite a while now. And she absolutely loves the idea of it being called Two Hawk Farm. But she kind of wants to fit in with the rural area having signs and everything. So she's been wanting a sign for a bit of time now. And I decided this year I would make it for her. I've got the time, I've got the opportunity, I've got the skill, you know, theoretically. But I have been... It's actually been my first time wood carving. So this isn't just painted. I know it's kind of hard to see because of how much paint is on it now, but I did not only design this myself, but I did carve it out of the wood, and now I'm painting on top of that, and then we're going to seal it up. So it is my first time doing a lot of wood carving, and I'm really happy with how it's coming out. And now I'm painting, because I have more experience with painting than I do have at wood carving, but it's an experience, it's a process, and I'm enjoying the whole thing, so I might make more of these in the future. I'm already thinking about designing one, just a wooden sign for our sauna. I know a lot of people pronounce it sauna, especially in America, but when I was younger, I learned the Finnish pronunciation, and the Finnish pronunciation of the word S-A-U-N-A is sauna, because they pronounce the vowels like that. So I choose to say it like that. So if you hear me saying sauna in the future, that's what I'm referring to. And that's probably the next sign I'm gonna make. But after Christmas, I've got like all these finished projects. I don't have to do any more needle felting, so I don't have that anymore. I mean, I can, but I don't have any like deadlines for that. And at the same time, I could go back into doing my game design stuff on my art streams. I will have to do like character design on my digital drawing tablet and things like that. So hopefully I can shift to doing some of that. I've also been in my spare time designing tattoos on my drawing tablet, so that might be another art thing to come in the future. I've got a lot of ideas. I would also Yeah, you learn something new every day. That actually reminds me, because I was about to say, I was thinking of doing a few episodes of Friday Grab Bag where I do a learn something with me day. So I'm, just kind of look up something that we all, kind of are interested in learning, or if someone like just has a recommendation. And then, I do the research right then and there, and we learn together. And really what kind of sparked that idea was, in my past personally, I get bored and just kind of learn things just because I can. So for example, I learned how to pick locks because I was bored, and I learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube by teaching myself the same kind of way. So I figured, hey, if I can learn something new just because, maybe I can share that with other people as well. And I think that would be a lot of fun. I just have to make sure I have enough ideas of what we can learn about, or like how to do it. So it's really just kind of a theory right now. It's in the shop as an idea. Hopefully we'll be able to do something with that. Hello, welcome to our chat room. Oh yeah, I could teach the barbecue pulled pork recipe. That one's really special because it started as a pulled pork recipe that I got from my I didn't realize you were Sam. Hi. Actually, it makes sense now. It does. Thanks for joining. I'm so excited to have people with me. Just doing a little bit of painting today. Hi. Thanks for joining us. I have a feeling Brian spread some of the information around, which I'm totally fine with. The more the merrier. Honestly, one of the best parts about Twitch is that if people don't want to watch anymore, they don't have to. Oh yeah, I have to finish that. Okay. So, I will give just a quick warning. My streams are like basically ADHD streams. I will literally forget what I'm talking about mid-sentence, and I'll have to go back to it multiple times. So I do appreciate reminders of what I was talking about, because for some reason having to do multiple things at once just kind of clears my brain of all sorts of stories and thoughts and everything. It just makes my ADHD act up like the entire time. So the pulled pork origin story was my freshman year of college. I had a roommate who was from Texas. So like she was gonna be good at barbecue. I mean, she learned her recipes from her home in Texas. Yeah, okay. So she taught me how to make pulled pork her way. And the way that she had learned was with Dr. Pepper. And I had never thought of that. But I'd never really done a lot of barbecue before. So I was like, all right, sure, why not? What you say is the way. And she introduced me to Sweet Baby Ray's barbecue sauce, which is my favorite to this day. So good. And then I just kind of tried to improve upon the recipe as I went. I decided to try, she showed me it was like chopped onion, and Dr. Pepper, who is Dr. Pepper, he is an amazing flavor creator. He is well known for his carbonated flavorings for barbecue pulled pork. No, but he is very useful to this whole thing. And I've experimented as I went along. I've done Sweet Baby Ray's, the onion, and the Dr. Pepper. And then as I went along, I realized that it tastes really good with just red onion instead of just like any onion, because it has that strong, pungent kind of flavor to it. As far as onions go, red onion has like the best flavor to it, in my opinion. It also feels more southern. I don't know, something about it. It's like, it reminds me of coleslaw, but that's cabbage, so definitely not coleslaw. But yes, I added the red onion instead of regular onion, and that was a good switch. But then there was some times that I didn't have Dr. Pepper on hand, so I kind of had to experiment with other liquids, because I had the Sweet Baby Ray's, but it was kind of thick, as a barbecue sauce is. So I took a little bit of bourbon or whiskey, and I'd usually put a splash of that in, just to kind of add a little more liquid to the mix when I didn't have Dr. Pepper. But then I discovered, when I continued to add the splash of alcohol, even when I had the Dr. Pepper, it had a whole different taste to it. It tasted like it was like the slow roasted down south original pulled pork that, oh my god, that people would die to eat. I don't know, it was just so good. And the first time I did the full recipe with all of my substitutions, innovations, that was when I brought that recipe to work, and I had everyone try my pulled pork with all my innovations, and they said it was the best stuff that they ever had. It was just amazing to them, and I was very flattered, but I decided, you know what, that's it, that's the winning combination. And while the original recipe is no doubt still amazing as is, I still kind of do my little touches to this day, and it makes it come out really, really good. So I decided I'd make some for my friends and for my neighbors. So today I'll be delivering barbecue pulled pork to people, along with some cornbread, because that felt very southern and fitting. I don't know. It's not like we're in the South or anything, but I figured, hey, you have barbecue, you might as well, feel like you're in Texas, at least. Sometimes it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense in my head. So we'll just go with that and continue to be kind to people, because that is important. Personal flair. Flair. Yeah, I think it would be Flair too, rather than Flare. So I think flare, ARE, is only like a warning flare or signal flare, but yeah, you got it right the first time. You good, bro. Oh, Brian, speaking of which, video games. Puyo Puyo Tetris 2 came out on the Switch. I am fully expecting you and Mary to buy this so that we can all play Puyo Puyo Tetris on the Switch together. And I can frustrate you from miles away. Thank you. It's so good. If I could share my pulled pork with anybody, I would like, if I could stream my pulled pork and like give it to you guys over chat, I totally would. But I don't know. If I could give it to everyone in the world, I'd be like Santa Claus for pulled pork and just go to every house in the night and just deliver pulled pork to people. You think that would get me arrested? Only one way to find out. Alright, so the black is pretty much finished. I'm gonna go over the middle part of the feather again, because I've still got some of that paint that's wet at the moment, because acrylic paint dries really quickly. I have no other way of saying it than it's still wet. Not my favorite way to say it, but you know what happens. I'm just gonna dry my brush on my little apron here because I bought this to be a paint apron, so it's gonna be messy no matter what. And that we're okay with. There's still a little black in there, but it's fine. It's mostly just black water. It looks a little bit lighter. But this works because now I've gone a little bit into where the feather is with the black. I literally learned the word for this thing the last time I did this stream and I can't remember it now. But it is this bone thing in the middle of the feather. This I've got a specific color for, and I kind of went into it or kind of encroached upon it with the black a little bit. But going over it works because you still see a little bit of the black underneath, which makes it look like a shadow, which is what would happen to that in the middle. So kind of cleaning everything else up. I'll probably have to go over it again at some point, but for now, I hope we can see it. I'm still trying to figure out framing for my camera. That's going to be a process, a learning curve there. But I will eventually get at that, I promise you. Just a little bit more at the top. I don't think this is on camera anymore. Oh no, it is. Still good. It's the tip of this feather that's kind of off, out of view. This is a little messy for now, but we're gonna clean up the details in a little while. Now it's time to get the color into these feathers. So I've got one color that works really well. This is the burnt sienna we're going to do on the feather underneath. And then I do a mix of burnt sienna and a few other colors to do the feather on top, just so they look a little different and you can kind of tell that one's different than another. So we're going to start with this, and then we're also going to do some shading with that afterwards. I'm just going to do a quick check to see if I left the tip white on the other side. I did, yeah. So I finished the other side. If you're just joining me now, you might not have seen this before, but I have this side finished, and I'm just painting the other side to match now. Had to remember which way to flip it. And also try and make the least amount of noise as possible because it gets picked up in my microphone no matter what I do. And a better microphone stand too. Thank you. I'm really looking forward to how this is gonna look when it's done, and I'm really gonna try and finish it today. Because I've only got a week until Christmas. But I've been having so much fun painting these signs. It's been a blast. Except for, like, the tendinitis I get in my wrist from using the drill. It's the only thing. The Dremel is sensitive. And you have to hold it, and then your, like, entire wrist is vibrating for hours and hours and hours because you're just trying to get all the lines right. And if you, like, slip up, it goes crazy and goes somewhere. Like, it's a lot better now that it's painted. But there were several instances here where I kind of let the Dremel slip, and there were some kind of lines in here that weren't supposed to be in there, but they got covered up pretty nicely. And thank you. Love the compliments. If only I could accept them as gracefully as I get them. I have been working on this piece now for, gosh, quite a while. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I was not only painting this and drilling it, but I was crocheting a scarf, and I was needle felting ornaments for people as well. So my right hand was so painful for the past month, and it still hurts like here where I was really just kind of gripping things, like a pencil. It still hurts to this day, but yeah, they don't really tell you how much it hurts to make things for Christmas or how much stress it is, especially in like the TV shows that are all like, oh, my aunt gave me a knitted sweater again, how wonderful, I totally wanted this, and they're just like, I'm gonna throw this out the moment she leaves, and it's like, oh, haha, so funny, like entertaining joke about not wanting handmade gifts. But there's something to be said for handmade gifts, honestly. It's like, if you recognize all the time and effort and thought that went into it, not to mention the separation from the consumerism of Christmas that I kind of despise. I'm not bitter or anything. Yeah, I have to massage it. I'm thinking of getting like a wrist brace or something to help with the pain as I work, because I do so much with that hand. So much art with that hand, let me be clear. I'm not gonna go into any of that other stuff today. But yeah, my chiropractor told me to ice it every day, and what have I forgotten to do? Ice it. So it'd probably feel better if I were to ice it. And it takes a lot to craft. It really does. It should get more notice or recognition. Because it's not easy. We cripple ourselves for you. That's what I'm saying with this painting. I've been hurting all month because I've done this for you. It is so fun. I can't say more about having like artistic projects to do during this pandemic, because I've been feeling so much more creative and so much more fulfilled just by making things. And before, I was working a retail job, I didn't have opportunity to do a lot of creative stuff, and I'm very creative by nature, so it was really kind of disheartening. You're gonna love this channel then, because I do all sorts of crafts on this channel. Mondays I do art, but it can be anything from wood carving to painting to, hand lettering and calligraphy and needle felting, crocheting. I did just get a whole bunch of new patterns, crochet patterns for, I don't know if anybody else has heard of these characters, but in Finland there's a cartoon character called the Moomin, or Moomins, and they're like these cute little white hippo looking creatures, and they're some of the biggest like kids show characters in Finland. And I went to Finland when I was younger, so I became really interested in them, and now yes, I love that. Yeah, learning to crochet is something else. I can definitely help with that. I tried to learn Tunisian crochet during the pandemic. It's very interesting. It's like a mix between knitting and crocheting. So I'd definitely be up to doing some of that on here as well. But as I was saying, the Moomin patterns allow me to make little like stuffed toys of the Moomins. Oh, I love that. That's so sweet. You are welcome to join too. Anybody is welcome. I love having people to talk to on my stream. I guess that's kind of the point, but it's great to see this interaction. And yeah, I do a lot of things on the stream. I don't know if you were here when I said I'm thinking of doing a learn something new with me stream. I think I have said that recently. This is what I mean by my ADHD stream, because my brain is all over the place. And this is me on medication. It's just once I start multitasking, my brain is like, oh, so it's ADHD time, yeah? Okay, let's just fall right into that then, it says. Just am like this forever. Makes for great entertainment, though, that's for sure. Hope it doesn't mess up with the vibe, or mess up the vibe, but... And I say this every single time I'm doing this painting, but, like, it is so calming to paint. And, like, usually I can get kind of stressed out about painting. But after doing digital art for a certain amount of time, it's so different. And now I can come back to painting with acrylic paint and realize that, like, you can't copy that feeling digitally. The way the paint textures and everything feels together, it's so satisfying. And while digital art has a lot to be said for itself, and I absolutely adore doing my digital art on my tablet, it's nice to go back to basics every once in a while. Nice to go back to your roots. Also, it feels very like Bob Ross of me. I'll probably end up following along with one of his videos at some point. So I can do a stream of that. Be following along to Bob Ross, the king. I wonder how many Bob Ross paintings are just like in like antique stores or like thrift shops of people not even realizing they're owning a Bob Ross, because it just, like, while it looks amazing, it also kind of, they tend to look like those pictures that come in picture frames that you're supposed to take out before you put your own pictures in, you know what I mean? I can't imagine that would happen to his paintings, but at the same time, I kind of can, if that makes sense. Like, I think his painting should be absolutely, like, honored. He had so much skill. Like, he was inspiration for me when I was younger. But I don't know, like the nice generic landscape, while there's something to be said for it, I feel like sometimes they can get overlooked too. And that's not to discredit Bob Ross at all, but I mean, when you live in a society that values production and repetitive production of the same items, same goods, it's easy to forget how meaningful it is to have something that is one of a kind and unique in every sense. And handmade. I'm getting really into, like, artisan stuff and making artisan stuff. Another idea I had for the stream was that I might open up a shop on my website where I sell some of the things that I craft on Art Mondays. So if anyone is interested in buying things that I make on these streams, definitely give me a shout, and I will continue thinking seriously about opening that shop, because if no one wants stuff, then there's no reason for me to open it up. But on the offhand that someone does want to buy something that they've seen me make, I'm open to that as well. Especially since I don't have a job since coronavirus. Gotta love it. It's a double-edged sword. I love being able to have the time to paint, but money's necessary in this society too. So it's not an ideal situation, but it is a nice situation on some levels. The song has nice little birdie sounds in it. Like that. We actually set up yesterday. Actually, actually. During one of the bigger windstorms that we had in the past few weeks, one of our trees in our side yard fell right onto our kayaks, brought down like half of another tree with it. And our neighbors were kind enough to offer their chainsaw and their services to help us take down and the branches and the rest of what had kind of fallen. But because of that, we had these 2 big spruce branches that were still alive. They had just been knocked over in the wind. So we got like a natural Christmas tree this year, which we didn't expect to get. We've never had a live Christmas tree before. We usually just stick with our same old plastic one, just so we don't have to be cutting down trees every year. But we had 2 of these big branches, and we didn't want to put both of them in the house. So we put one out in the front yard, and we decorated it for the birds. So we put some lights on it so it would sparkle at night, which is nice. And that's mostly for us. But then we did that really old-fashioned stringing popcorn and cranberries onto strings and then decorating the tree with that. Oh my gosh, I cannot believe how much fun that was. I mean, the popcorn kept breaking, and that was frustrating at times, but it was also kind of hilarious to just be like, oh, well, there it goes again. And then I was just so surprised at how pretty it looked, like something so simple and so like, I don't know, it's like stereotypical Christmas things that no one actually does anymore, but it was like an old thing that people did. And it was so much fun to do, and it looked so pretty. So amazing to me how that's possible. Okay, now I'm gonna see the top of my head for a little while, because I have to really kind of lean in here and make sure I'm getting the orange in all the places that it needs to be. Because we've got some pieces of the feather here that aren't part of this feather. I'm sure none of that really made sense, but it's okay. Well, did I just stick my hand in wet paint? Just a little, but it's okay. Acrylic dries rapidly, so for the most part I can usually rest my hand on top of the painting and not worry about smudging anything. I'm also using this ridiculously tiny brush to do all of this, so it's going to take a little bit longer, just due to the size of the brush and the quantity of area that I have to fill with color. The first time I did this, I couldn't even hear my own music, which is all not copyright free, but it's been approved so that I don't have to worry about the copyright issues on Twitch. And I was so sad. It was just like silence on my side, but everyone else was vibing to the fun music. I finally figured out how to vibe to the music myself and be able to hear it. So it's a completely different feel for me this time around. And I'm sure it's going to be just a little bit different every time, because I'm getting used to this software and this process more and more every day. I've only done like 4 videos tops, I think, 4 streams. And half of them were train wrecks, in the best sense. So I hope to continue getting better at this, because I'm having fun doing it. And I hope you guys are having fun joining me here today, watching what we're doing. This is going to be more white, but what I like to do with the acrylics is I like to layer it a little bit, because this, especially this burnt umber, is fairly thin. So you can kind of see the white underneath it, but then I can layer also with some other white and with actually a little mix of the burnt umber and the white. So we can add more of a gradient effect to the feather overall. Like on the other side, the base of the feather starts turning white around here. And that's the first coat of one feather. I'll probably let that dry for a little bit before going back and doing it again. In that case, I think I'm going to do the base of this feather just a little bit because I've got the colors with me right here. I don't know if you can see me mixing my paints or if that's anything anyone wants to see, but I'll kind of put it in camera view a little bit. A little bit of water helps loosen things up. That's quite a bit of orange in that, but might be okay. I'm just going to do some fairly light strokes here. We want this area to be light, but not like standing out as different too much. To kind of blend a little bit. Add a little more water. Actually, take that color off completely. Go back into a little bit of this. Burnt umber. Go back. Just gonna take a whole bunch more white. I'm gonna continue going over this. Maybe we can blend it a little bit while it's still damp. Try to choose my words very carefully. I don't necessarily want to say moist or wet, but might have to at times. Do some little like feathery stuff. And not really hairs, but the little feather pieces down at the base of the feather are a lot fluffier than the other parts of the feather. So I'm trying to add some more strokes of paint in between, just so you can kind of see, so it looks a little more natural, looks a little more fluffy, because I can't necessarily carve tiny details into the wood, or at least it's harder to do that, but you can paint tiny details easier. So we're gonna paint these tiny details. Looking better. Definitely gonna have to go over this area a little bit more after the paint dries here. It's because we're gonna need to get a little more white, and it's too damp to get too much of the white in there at the moment. Probably have to go back over and with the black later. I've done that. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna work on this big feather now, in which case we have to mix a few colors together. Starting with the burnt umber. I probably shouldn't put it on the area I just painted. Nah, we good. We good. No worries. What? Me worry? No. I need a lot of this. Burnt sienna, not burnt umber. Sorry, I've been using the wrong word this whole time. We also use a little bit of crimson in this one, but not a ton because it actually has the habit of overtaking the color quite a bit. So we're only going to do a little bit of that. I'm going to come in with a bit of raw sienna, which is going to be more than the red. And then almost equal parts of the burnt sienna to the burnt umber. Now we're using the burnt umber. Oh yeah, that's about enough for that. And now we're gonna mix them all up together. And hopefully this is enough paint for this whole feather. Let me get this in the camera so you can see me mix everything. Not like the prettiest colors to mix together and to see all of that, but it's still cool no matter what you do. It's fun to mix paint. I don't care who you are, it is fun to mix paint. Something you learn as a kid. There we go. That's a pretty good tone for what we need to do here. So now we're moving on to the big feather. Exciting. And I'll do the shading after. Can you even see that? Okay, no. Let me try. Pardon the noise for a second. Ooh. I'm just gonna move this into frame a little better. There we go. Now you can see more of what I'm doing. And it does tend to look streaky just because it's so thin at first, but that's why I do a second coat. And then we do the shading as well. And really what I did here with this is that I put a coat of white paint on the wood first after carving it, so that whatever colors I put on it would stand out better. Otherwise you'd have the brown background and some of the colors would get kind of absorbed into that, you know? So the white at least offsets that. And it shows a little bit, but it's better than having to deal with the brown. That would make it difficult to see some of the colors. And this way I can have these really bright blues, and some of the gold, and then this like rusty color red. It actually looks very similar to the other color right now, but I assure you it does look different. I promise. Promise it looks different. Just need some layers of it, that's all. We've got plenty of paint here at the moment. Hopefully it remains enough. It's always hard to make the same shade the same color twice in a row when you're mixing paints. Challenging at the very least. I almost wish that Twitch had the Animal Crossing music on here as well. I don't think it's available because I know Nintendo is very strict on their copyright material. But how cool would that be? Just vibe along to Animal Crossing music while painting. I'd be all up for that. Especially like the 3 a.m. music, because I think this music right now reminds me quite a bit of it. The Animal Crossing music. That's why I'm like, yeah, I'd love that. This is like the 3 a.m. Animal Crossing music you'd expect. Chill vibes. We love these chill vibes. Have to be super careful about the edges. I mean, I say I have to be super careful about the edges, but then... Right? It would be so perfect. It'd be so fitting for this. Nintendo and your copyrights. No, don't want to get sued by Nintendo. We love Nintendo. I have a weak spot for Nintendo, which is the only reason why I would love to have their music here right now. But yeah, we got what we got. This is cool. This is good. This is all good. All good things. All good things. I hear someone approaching. I might have to end the stream only to take care of my barbecue pulled pork, but it's a slow cook recipe, so it should take hours before I need to really go check on it. They say after 4 hours, that's when the meat is tender enough that you can tear it apart. And I usually break it up with some forks. There's 2 forks, and I just use them to like naturally tear the meat as it, I mean, they say it's like with the grain rather than against the grain, but that's more of like a wood term where it's like you carve with the grain rather than against the grain. But it kind of makes sense for meat too, because meat is more apt to separate on itself or from itself in certain directions. And with the forks, you can just let that naturally happen. But after you tear it up with the forks, you have to put it back in the crock pot for another 2 hours. So it's a total of 6 hours cooking. But then the meat really gets the flavor of the barbecue and the Dr. Pepper and the onion and everything. Really kind of soaks in nicely. Whereas for the first 4 hours, you're mainly just cooking the meat, and the outside of the meat gets kind of soaked in those juices, less than the inside. Glad my hands aren't too shaky today. Sometimes trying to paint with shaky hands is not easy, and more times than most I have shaky hands. So today is a miracle. That's why it's called the present. Yes, all that flavor. Taking a trip to Flavor Town, unless that's copyrighted too. I hope Guy Fieri doesn't sue me. That would suck. Be a memorable experience though. Oh, Brian, who doesn't love juicy meat? I had a feeling my my idea for making pulled pork as a Christmas present for my friends would be especially a good hit for you. Knowing how much you love this recipe and food in general. I'm glad you're so excited about it. Because it means I was right. Guy Fieri is coming for me now. Yeah, I've got no choice. This is the end. This is it. Now that I've made this reference. Ugh. I love this paint. I'm not great at beatboxing, but I learned a couple of things once upon a time, and I can pretend. I know what I'm doing. There's no better gift. I thought you might think that. I'm glad. I absolutely love sharing things with people that make me happy, especially if it makes them happy too. One of my favorite things. Alright, okay. Sometimes I just have to take a lean in here and see where the carved lines are. Which means you get a great view of the top of my head. One of these days I'll get a bit better table for this, and my stream setup will be that much better, but that will probably be a while from now. Because I don't really have any money right now, but we're good. Like I said, this is all a process. We figure it out as we go along. One day I'll have my shit together. Today is not that day, but you know, it'll happen eventually. So they say about being an adult too. Eventually it just clicks. Or at least that's what I hope happens. Because it's definitely not clicking now. Do not consider myself an adult. Consider myself a grown child. I feel like people will be able to understand that. Hard for me to believe that December went by so quickly. It probably just went quickly because of all the projects I'm working on. I think I never finished saying the sentence where I said I started this project over a month ago. I was carving this in November, and I have been doing everything else since. So I must have started this even before Thanksgiving. I had designed it. Oh yeah, that's right, because I had to go get the printout of my design at Staples the day after Black Friday. So it was the only day I could go, and I needed to get it transferred to the wood via carbon paper as soon as possible. I just showed up at Staples and was like, hey, I have some really weird dimensions, and I need this paper printed out at these exact dimensions, please. It's like, alright. Does it need to be in color? No. I'm gonna paint it myself. But I do need to be able to trace it at the correct size. All in all, it worked out pretty well. And honestly, I'm surprised that my whole plan for this project has worked out as well as it has, because I did not expect it to go as smoothly. I was preparing for the worst at every turn, and yet I've got some form of success here. December flu, for sure. But on the other hand, we are closer to a vaccine being distributed out, which means maybe we can all actually see each other in person again sometime soon. I mean, it'll still take months probably, and certain people will have higher priority, which is understandable. I'm not really at a high risk, so I don't mind waiting. I feel like that's the kind of mindset that you wish people had, or most people had in this country, where it's like, I'm fine taking the back seat if somebody else needs it more than me, But unfortunately, you get people who refuse to wear masks out in public and refuse to think of others. There's still some of us, who do think of others, and it's good. It's not like all of humanity is bad, And I don't want to sound like I'm saying that either, because I don't believe that. But if anything, I wish this pandemic had shown us that there were more people who were willing to be generous and giving and thoughtful of others, rather than selfish and self-centered. That's all. I just want people to have the opportunity to live life as they want to live it. And that's that on compassion. Yes, exactly. That's that. You should care for people. People deserve the right to live, to not be dead. And, yeah. Let people be happy. Gosh, it was so weird watching Frozen yesterday, because it felt like kind of a wintry movie, with all the snow and everything. And it was, a winter solstice celebration, so we figured, why not? We'll watch some Frozen. And we put the movie on, and I never felt more related to Princess Anna of Arendelle than I did last night when I watched this movie, keeping all of the quarantine in my mind. She was singing The First Time in Forever. She gets to open the gates and see people. And I'm like, oh my god, I can't wait till that happens for me, because I'm so tired of being alone in this quarantine. It's like, I don't have to quarantine because I don't have it, but at the same time I want people to be safe. I want to have the best chance of getting over it. And so I've been keeping myself distant. And honestly, I will be singing for the first time in forever when I can finally go to a bar and hang out with friends and be in person without a mask on. I cannot wait for that day. But I will. I'll wait for it. Because while it's hard to go back to normal, we'll at least have a new world to get back to. We will all be changed by this. That's kind of, even if you're scared of change, it's kind of a relief to be able to think that through this pandemic, everyone is going to be changed by it. And so even if the world might not be, back to normal the way you expect it, everyone else will be trying to get used to the new normal too. So you're not alone no matter what. Even in change. Honestly, change is one of the only things that remains consistent in this world. There will always be change. There will always be times that make us worry because they're different and new and scary. But that's such an integral part of life. These streams get pretty deep and meaningful on art days, I'm not gonna lie. It's just something about seeing all this pretty color and getting into the vibe. Just gets me all existential and stuff. Very different from my video game streams. Oh, I also do nail art streams every other Tuesday. My current manicure is chipping, so I have to do my nails tomorrow. So I'll be doing that on stream tomorrow. And I'm probably going to do Christmas themed nails. I've got a few ideas. So if anyone wants to check that out who's on the stream today, be sure to drop by. If you follow me on Twitch, it should give you a notification when I go live. Because I as of right now, I don't have a consistent time schedule for streaming. Times is hard, you know? And sometimes I gotta do other things during the day. And the priorities change. So I haven't come up with a consistent schedule time-wise yet, but I do know I am going to be streaming every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday, unless it's a holiday, because I will switch that around this Friday so that I can still do that stream, just not on Christmas, you know? And every other Tuesday. So that's going to be consistent at least. So I can't exactly do my nails every week, but I'll do them every other week. I'll do a stream on it every time I do it, which will be fun, I think. I enjoyed it last time. Yeah. A lot of this is me just kind of talking out loud while I do things. Well, it is possible. I do kind of lose my train of thought. I mean, I lose my train of thought very frequently, but I also kind of run out of things to say sometimes. I always come back to something. It's the one thing about my ADHD brain that is helpful. That when I'm doing something multitasking something like this, I can just babble forever. The words don't go through my brain. They just come out my mouth. And I can just go on and on and on. Like our dear friend Blathers, the Animal Crossing Museum. I mean, pretty clever to name him Blathers because, you know, he blathers on and on. But at the same time, so do all the other characters. There's just so much dialogue in that game, which is sometimes nice and sometimes not nice. Sometimes you get tired of it. But, so it's both fitting that he's named Blathers, but, I mean, everyone else blathers on about as much as he does, so it doesn't seem that different anymore. Maybe it used to be more different. I only played New Leaf before I played New Horizons. And I've enjoyed every Animal Crossing game I've played. I mean, I even played the mobile version for a while before New Horizons came out. And I'm very bad at being consistent on mobile app games. I don't log in every day and I get tired of it. Mostly it's just because I'm stubborn and I don't like being told, log into this app every day to get this reward. And I'm like, don't tell me what to do. I'll log in when I want to log in. And then I don't do it. Probably shooting myself in my foot, you know, but That's me. It's one of those things you work on in therapy for the rest of your life. And I am fully prepared to do so. Okay, we're getting close now to the end of these feathers, or at least the first base coat is getting close to being completed. I'm not gonna do too much on these feathers down here because these are mostly gonna be like white as well. Because there's a lot less color when you get closer to the bird, to the bird's body when it comes to feathers. Gets whiter and whiter. You get more of those down, fluffy feathers. Birds are fun. My dad and I were trying to get the snowblower up and running the other day after we got this big snowstorm. And this is like a 50-something-year-old snowblower, so it was not cooperating. And we decided, all right, we're gonna stop trying, basically. And when we did that, we went to go close the door to the garage, only to find that a wren had flown in to the garage and was trying to get out one of the back windows that were not open. So we had to stand in various positions in the garage just so that the bird would avoid us and avoid going into different parts of the house. So we then chased it, kind of, or we urged it out the front of the garage that way. But man, was that an experience. And I could have sworn after that, I was outside, I saw the exact same wren in the tree next to me. And it was just singing this like bright, happy little song that made me think, oh, it's like thanking me for helping it get back home. And of course, that might not actually be the case, and that's okay too. But it's a nice thought, you know? And it feels nice to be able to think that maybe the bird could have found its way out on its own, but I kind of feel like I helped in a way. And I'm kind of proud of that. And I know I just said I was going to leave most of these like blank so that I could color them white in a little while, but I guess I changed my mind, which happens. We're spontaneous here on this channel. We just kind of go with the flow. See, here's one area where I can see I missed the blue just a little bit. But that's okay. I can fill that in with the blue a little bit. Saving one bird at a time. Yeah. I've always been that kind of person. Remember that time I came into marching band with a monarch butterfly on my head? That was a story. And this summer I tried to save as many bees as possible from my hive when they got lost. Got me stung a couple of times, but I was fine with it. As long as I can help the others. The little ones. I'm just going to go in and do a second coat on this immediately because I think where I painted before is already dry enough that I can just keep using the same paint. Although the brush is getting a little dry. Let's get this paint a little more wet. give you that beautiful ASMR brush noises. Back in. It's like surgery. I'm actually super excited to play Stardew Valley again now. Love a good update. I'm so glad he's still updating too. That's the one thing as a game designer I feel like I would have trouble with. Continuing to update a game that I feel like I've done or finished building on. But I guess if it were popular, I'd either hire other people to continuously update it or just keep going. I mean, if I loved it enough, like I hear that Concerned Ape feels about Stardew Valley, maybe I would. You know, I just haven't made a game that I love that much yet. Working on it. Of course, it takes a lot more time for me now because I've been making games all by myself. Kind of crazy, I know, but yeah, I've been doing everything for it. The art, the programming, the music. Well, my brother will help on the music a lot, which I am super appreciative of because he's much better at it than I am. But it's still fun to like make everything for a game. A lot more work, but it is fun, and I can't deny that. So now we got a little bit more dark here with the second coat. You see? I have to watch like a video of what they added in the update. I gotta look into that because this is like the first I've heard of it. So I'm so excited. If there's a lot of new stuff, it's gonna be like a completely different game. I don't think I've played Stardew Valley on my PC in a while either. I'm like, the more I'm thinking about it, the more I'm thinking that not Friday stream, but my usual grab bag stream, which I'm moving to a different day because Friday's Christmas, it's probably gonna be Stardew Valley. And I will most likely, once I stop streaming today, I'll figure out when I can stream that. And I will absolutely do that. That game is so much fun. So calming too. I've actually been playing a lot of Animal Crossing lately. Just been looking for like calming things to play. Yeah. Stardew is gonna be great. Because I've got it on the PC and the Switch, so I'd be happy to play it on the PC. Sometimes I just own games way too many times. Like Skyrim. I own that game like 4 times over. For various reasons. I've refused to let myself buy Skyrim on the PS4 because I can't own it 5 times. Stardew Valley, however, I would consider buying it like on every console I have and my PC. It's one of those games you just keep going back to. Makes you feel like you got like something done, something accomplished. Also, you get like clear goals. I'm running out of paint. It's a good game. I love that it became so popular, and it's something that the developer worked so hard for, and it like you can see just how much love he put into that game. And I love that about it. Like, people love it. I love it. And it's just, he put so much work into it. And you can see that it really translates into the game. The The effort was made, and it's wonderful. Oh, I'm gonna have to mix more paint. Yeah. I have thought of, I don't have the PS5 though. I would if I had the PS5, I would absolutely buy Stardew Valley on the PS5. I'd buy a whole bunch of other things on the PS5. But I'd need the PS5. I am thinking about playing it on the PS4 if needed, or if I want, that extra thing. I do know they have like a mobile version of it too. I have been curious as to how that game like differs, or how that version differs from like the PC version and the Switch version. Because I can't imagine they put the whole game onto the mobile platform. It just doesn't seem like it would be able to handle something like that, but maybe they did. That would be amazing. Maybe they got the whole game playable on the phone. I'd be super impressed. It's okay. I have thought about getting a PS5 slightly. It's more of a kind of pipe dream at the moment, just because I don't have the money for it. But I would absolutely. I don't know. The PS4 has worked so well, and I mean it's nowhere like Nintendo innovates on its consoles, where they're completely different each time. And a lot of the games that are coming out for the PS5 are like backwards compatible, so I could play them on the PS4 still. And I got the PS4 pretty late after it'd been out for quite a while, so it's not like I've had it for very long to replace it. But seeing the new one out, it does kind of make you want to like just get it because it's new, So it's more of like a fantasy of getting it because it's new than anything else. But I'd consider it. If I had like a well-paying job, I'd probably go for it like immediately. I probably wouldn't even think twice about it. Although I'd also get a VR system like immediately. I've got one that just works with like a cell phone, which has been fun in the past, but it doesn't work as well as I wished it would. And I'd love to have, because you need the hardware to run the software, which is like a really heavy duty kind of thing with VR, because there's a lot of information there's a lot of data that needs to be stored and run and all that jazz. So a VR thing is one of those things that I would like to have it either plugged into a console or like based in something like that. Oh, Stardew Valley in the VR would be amazing, but also kind of weird. I can't imagine, like, would it make you 2D, or would you just like, would it be a 3D Stardew Valley in VR? Things to think about, that's for sure. That's too much yellow. I need more brown. But yeah, so I would probably get a VR system that like connects to like a console or a PC or something, just because it would probably function better, because it has something dedicated to running the software and then transmitting it into the VR headset, rather than having it all contained in the headset itself. But of course, those are the ones that are less expensive, are the ones that are just purely contained on the headset itself. Like the one that Facebook helped create for the Oculus Quest, I think. That has everything in the VR helmet, and it has no wires, so you don't have to worry about getting tangled or anything, but at the same time, you've got nothing but that small device running all those heavy-duty software programs, and I can imagine that it can get overloaded pretty easily. Then again, I've never really tried it. So I've been wanting like a VR system for my PS4 for a while, but now that the PS5 is out, I'm gonna wait even longer because if I get the PS5, then I'll get if I get the VR system, I'll get the PS5, but like I don't know. It's so hard to explain and so hard to like think through. It's just one of those things where you're like, yeah, I'd totally do that if I had the money. Lucky me, I made a very similar color. Almost the same exact shade. That is a miracle. Something worth celebrating. So now I just have to paint these two feathers like all over again because they need their second coat. And then I can go in and do the detail work. And then I'll be pretty much done. Stardew Valley's been out for quite a while too. I'm so glad it's still popular. It really does deserve it. I can only dream of like... Oh, I'm so glad you enjoyed yourself. Bye. Thank you for joining us. Hello. One friend leaves, one friend enters. We've got a chill vibe today. And we're painting feathers. Until they're done. So I don't know how long I'll be streaming for, but as long as I get them done. I mean, we're not far off from being completed. Or they're not far off from being completed, so that's good. How long have we been streaming for so far? An hour and 42 minutes, about? Yeah. Not bad. I know that there are a lot of streamers who do like full game playthroughs in one stream. I don't know if I'll build up to that. I'll be able to handle that, but maybe someday. I think my microphone is also picking up the sounds of the birds from outside. Because I'm starting to think that's not part of the song. Skyrim speedrun? Are you doing a Skyrim speedrun? Yeah, it sounds like your characters have short lifespans in terms of how long you play them. I can't imagine watching the opening that many times that you get used, like, through it in only a few minutes, or 10 to 20 minutes. That thing, I feel like I would get tired of it so quickly. I would just, like, try to skip everything. Well, I mean, I guess that's how you get through it quickly, but at the same time, I mean that, like, I'd probably stop making characters just because I got tired of the opening, you know? So props to you for being able to stand it. Not that it's bad, it just gets on, you know, your nerves after a while, just like anything repeated often enough. Unless you're, like, in love with it, can absolutely get on your nerves. Oh, there are words in this song. I had another playlist playing before I started streaming. that I was thinking of using, but this one just kind of went with the vibes better, but also didn't have any words. I felt like I would have gotten confused if I tried to speak over something that I could hear the words to the music, or the lyrics to the music of. And then, like, I can multitask painting and talking, just barely. But if the music I'm playing in the background is also talking, I think that would just mess me up. This is quiet today, quiet stream. I know I've said that before, but let's see. Oops, sorry about the noise. I've got to find a better solution to that mic. Maybe I should get like a mic stand that is separate from the table so you don't hear that scraping when I move things. Because I do want to be able to show the camera what we're doing regular enough that it doesn't, like, you don't go for stretches of stretches of time where you have no idea what I'm doing and I'm just painting off camera. I'd rather have it in front of the camera as much as I can, but since it's a big canvas. Suspension arm, yes, that is what I need. Yes. That's exactly what I was thinking. No idea where I would get those except for Amazon, and I don't necessarily need to support Amazon all the time. Convenience, but what's the cost, you know? Not money expensive, but expensive in other senses. I will be the first to admit that my setup is not professional, nor is it ideal at the moment, but it is what I got. It's the best I could do, and I am fine with that at the moment. I can see the things I want to improve, and a lot of the times I'll just say that out loud because I know it's something that I want to do in the future. Yeah, I probably would want to go small business. Really? Well, that's nice. I feel like I'm always fiddling with the setup of the camera when I'm doing my art stream because I feel like it's always kind of off center, and I don't know if that would bug me if I were watching it, or it's always at like an angle. It does work. That was just my goal for the beginning, just get the setup that works and then kind of let everything else about the Twitch channel evolve after that. Which is what I like to do. Figure it out as I go. Messy, but fun. Figure things out as you go. Alright, this one is getting pretty close to being done with this color. Yeah. Alright, let me see. There's a couple of spots here on this feather that are a little lighter than I would hope. I'm just going to go over those again just to kind of give it a little bit more of a consistent coloring here as much as I can. And because I've got the paint left over, I might as well, you know. Sometimes it's easier for me to look at the recording and see how it looks there. And that's how I can see where the spots need to be touched up. Because if it shows up on camera, then I know it needs some adjustment. If it doesn't show up on camera, it's probably not that noticeable. I'm probably just fussing over things that I don't need to be fussing over. So it's a good metric. Feels like the kind of day that should be like snowy, cold, doing fun things inside, just like painting or reading. Feels like that kind of day. Love days like that. Or like if it were raining. Those are the good times to be inside doing things like this. And this doesn't have to be perfect by any means, especially since it's going outside eventually. I mean, I don't have high hopes that the finishing spray that I'm using, or the finishing paint that I'm using, is going to keep all the colors on here. Not to mention the sun has a habit of bleaching colors, so the longer it's outside, the more I expect it to fade. But that being said, I like to let it look nice, at least for a little while. Then if it fades, it fades. And I'll do everything I can to keep it from fading, but life finds a way. Jurassic Park reference. Not quite the best used Jurassic Park reference, but still. Works for me. Music just stopped, so I'm just going to turn it back on. There we go. I wish I could share like just how it feels to paint. I would, if it were possible, I'd probably let people see things like literally from my perspective. If we had the technology to show people things like from our point of view, literally like through my eyes, I probably would. I think that would be cool. It could be invasive, it could be problematic for sure. But as someone who sees things as just, wonderful and beautiful all the time, someone who sees the world through like rose-colored glasses, I'd love to be able to share things that make me happy with others, make them happier, or at least get them to see things how I see them. And that's tough, even if someone saw my experiences through my eyes, they'd be looking at it. You've never seen Jurassic Park. Sorry, got distracted there for a second, but it is a good movie. It holds up to this day still, too. I would definitely recommend it. We gotta let that feather dry now. But that's okay, because we're gonna do... Actually, before it dries, I'm gonna go in with a bit of Van Dyke Brown and do some of the shading. Because we get the Van Dyke Brown really, really watery. And then it smoothly kind of goes over it. Especially if the paint isn't completely dry yet. Don't mind me just like talking about a billion things at once. Honestly, I don't even remember what I was saying before. And that's okay. It'll come back eventually, if it's meant to be said. I spilled a drop of water on here. Okay. This is going to be hard just because I have to keep myself from resting my arm in the paint. But yeah, it gets more of a blend when it's wet like this. Let's see. There we go. Have to go over the middle line again with that paint, but that's okay. I'm gonna do some strokes coming out from the middle here. Give the middle more of a textured feel, as well as giving some movement to our feather here. Those birds certainly are making a ruckus outside, aren't they? They're probably like right outside my window. I do kind of wonder how much of what I'm hearing through my microphone is what you're hearing through my microphone. But it's easier for me to guess when I'm wearing my headphones, because I can plug it right into the microphone and then the output goes through my headphones. I can kind of have a better idea of what you're hearing. They are singing to me. It's great. I'm being serenaded by nature. They're thanking me for saving that wren the other day. Feathers have so much movement in them. If you've ever looked at a feather and seen the teeny tiny feathers that make up a feather, it's like bonkers. Best way of describing it, probably, because it's like, it looks like one unit, but it's not. Each bit of the feather is made up of like a tiny, like zipper-like fiber that connects to the ones next to it. And that's what makes up the main body of the feather, which I think is just super cool, honestly. It's like all these lines that I'm drawing are really just kind of where the light would be shining off of those little zipper parts of the feather, or where the shadow would be cast due to the individual fibers of the feather. Nature's amazing. I have not watched Attack on Titan I have not watched Attack on Titan to completion. I started watching it, but it's one of those things like kind of like Game of Thrones where it was very, very heavy. I could only watch a few episodes at a time. Definitely not binging it. I would love to see it completely though. Might be a bit much in this area. I'm gonna spread these out a little bit. Brian binged it? How? Honestly, that sounds exactly like something Brian does. What was that other thing that... Brian, what was that show that we told you about? Was it like Me and Marianne? Or was it just me? I don't remember, but we were talking about it all the time because you did the same thing. Got you hooked on it, and then you were just watching it much more than we were. Was it... Oh my gosh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Oh my gosh. I can't even stay up till 2 a.m. just for fun, let alone to do anything. I would probably be asleep. That is one of the ones on my to-watch list, though. It was Steven Universe. That's what it was. Absolutely right. I kind of love how involved you can get into these things, though. Something I could never even dream of doing. I mean, I can binge things every now and then, but something heavy like that or Game of Thrones, I can't really binge those things. Okay, now I'm just gonna go in with a little bit of water. I love that. And now you're trying to get me to watch Attack on Titan too. You like to share the addiction, which I appreciate. A lot of death. Yeah, I can imagine. Well, I've also seen like the first 2 episodes of the show. The first couple of episodes, something like that. So I definitely have seen some of the death. Yeah. It's one of those shows that's like always on, like edge. Keeps you always on edge, I'm guessing. Let's see. After I finish some of these strokes, I'm gonna look, see how we're coming along on this feather. Because I think we have to do some of the white areas next. Getting close. Oh, I know what I have to do. Yep. Looks pretty good. In the recording, at least. I'll have to do the white up here, and the white down there. Some blue to do a second coat on this one. And then probably have to go over the yellow again there, and then that should be it. So for now, I think I'm gonna just add some white to the corner of this part of the palette. I'm just gonna mix that in. Thank you. Oh, I can't wait for this to be done. I'm working so hard on this. Not necessarily a bad thing. I like that I've had something to focus on so thoroughly. But I'm also really excited for it to be finished. definitely easier to spread the paint when it's more watery. Oh, it's almost time to go check on my pulled pork. Hopefully I can finish this. In time. Getting somewhere at least. Do you think we'll be listening to lo-fi hip-hop beats like our parents listen to smooth jazz at adult dinner parties? Because I can kind of see that happening. Like our kids will have to listen to this when we have friends over for dinner. Yeah, I think this might be our equivalent of smooth jazz. The thing you listen to in the background that you can just kind of vibe to. It's kind of mind-boggling to think about, isn't it? Like, oh my gosh. Just like when I was younger, I thought so often about how, like, the radio station I listened to most often, Coast 93.3, which plays hits from the 90s, 2000s, and today. That's what their slogan says anyway. But I would always imagine what that's going to be like when we're, like, older, we have kids, we're, like, parents' ages as they are now, and 93.3 comes on and it's, like, classic radio. It's like, is this classic now? It's playing the same exact songs, but I can imagine it, you know? Our parents, or our kids being like, ugh, can you please turn off Britney Spears? She's so old. I'm like, no. This is a top jam from my childhood. You're going to listen to Toxic and you're going to enjoy it. I'm a little worried about the acrylic paint peeling after a while. I mean, I'm a little worried about it peeling right away when I put it out in the world. Let it fare against the elements on its own. Yeah, a very, very quotable moment there. You're gonna listen to Toxic and you're gonna enjoy it. It's the kind of parent I'll be. That's looking pretty good. That might be that for that one. Like, that made a lot of sense. I'm actually going to paint the white up at the top here while I'm at it. See that, right? Yeah. Also not the most stable table. It's fun to say, but it is not the most stable table. Every time I lean on my board here just a little bit, you can kind of hear in the microphone that it just tips, because it's not like a flat surface. Who needs a flat surface? Yeah, kind of like that. I need to touch up the black, and I'm going to need to touch up the yellow, but I think that's pretty much done. Go back and do some of this on the other one. Glad it doesn't take too long to do this. I was putting off painting the feathers for so long because I was worried it would take forever. It's really just as long as you're willing to kind of put up with it, I think. Like, I could make these a whole bunch more detailed and, you know, be super, super careful on them, but at some point I'm just gonna look down and say, you know what? Anything more I do to this is just gonna make it worse. And I'm kind of at that point, honestly. I'm like ready to say this is pretty good as it is. Helps a little bit. Probably need to touch up some of the black here too, but it's better. Better than nothing. These art streams make Mondays so much more chill. Why fret when you can just listen to lo-fi hip-hop beats and my soothing, sultry voice? Just kidding. But hey, certainly does help the day go by. That's actually part of it. Okay, that's good for that. So now, let's do a second coat of the burnt sienna. Oh yeah, and the shading on that one too. I'm gonna do a little bit of shading, not a ton, but we're gonna take some of the dark brown, the Van Dyke brown, or maybe the burnt umber, and we're just gonna kind of go over where they overlap a little bit, because that would naturally cast a shadow over the one underneath it. I don't want it to be too unrealistic. I mean, it's always going to be a little bit unrealistic just because of my own artistic methods. They don't tend to render well towards hyperrealism. I tend to lean more towards impressionism. It's a good thing I like impressionism though. Otherwise we might have an issue. I gotta go deliver food at some point too. I mean, once it finishes cooking, but I can't forget to do that. So sometimes I just say things out loud just to remind myself that they exist. Like things I have to do, tasks. Winding down a bit in this stream. I feel like the energy is waning a little bit. It's mostly me, because I've been painting for so long. And that's fine. It doesn't need to be high energy. But I do feel myself waning a bit. I also forgot to have lunch, so that's probably part of it. Don't be like me. Don't forget to have lunch. Don't forget to eat. It's another curse of ADHD, getting hyper-focused and forgetting to eat. I'm sure I've mentioned this at least once before. How many more times can I mention it in my stream before somebody gets annoyed at how much I bring it up? We'll find out. We're doing good though. Very true. But today is the day. Well, I guess last night was the earliest it's going to set. And every day from now on, the sun will be coming up just a little bit sooner every day. So that's something to look forward to. And something I'm definitely looking forward to. Because it does feel like the day is just like gone at 4 p.m. Because then it's dark. And you're like, it's time to sleep, right? No. Not yet. Still got a lot of the day left. I mean, not daylight, but active hours. I am wondering if the face cam is necessary for these streams, for the art streams. Because I could do away with the face cam, since a lot of the time I'm just looking down at my work anyway and could just have it focused on that. Especially since I'm like holding this in front of half of it and you can't even see it. Like, I'd be able to pay attention to that more, probably, if I didn't have the face cam on. But if it is requested. If you guys like it or whatever, I'll keep the face cam. I'm always up to changing things, adjusting things. Like the face cam? Cool, cool. Thank you for your input. This song that just started reminds me so much of something familiar, but I don't know what it is. Oh, cool. Thank you all for your input. I love that this is all agreed upon. I will keep the face cam. Yeah, we're getting dark. I think I might actually be running out of things to say. I don't know. I can totally stretch it. I can think of things to babble about. It's never really noticed how little I usually talk during like art until I have to talk during art. I'm like, oh, yeah, what am I doing? I should probably be saying something right now. That kind of thing. It's easier with a video game because you have like the feedback from the game that you can comment on, almost like riffing off of something else. You know, like comedians do a lot of the time. But when I'm just painting, it's just kind of like a nice chatting time. Let's chat about nonsense. Or not nonsense, whatever you want to chat about. I'm fine. I'm a flexible individual. I am happy doing anything. Pretty much. And yeah, I've said this before, but for the record, most of what comes out of my mouth while I'm painting is not being screened by my brain. My brain can't be expected to pay attention to that much all at the same time. At least that's what it seems to say to me. I wish I could identify what the song reminds me of, though. It's like right on the edge of my memory. Ooh, wine of choice. That is a good question. Oh, we just had this amazing wine. I say we, it was me and my mom. But it was a great night. We had so much fun. We got drunk off of this bottle of wine. It's in French. I want to say it was like Le Vie Ferme, meaning like the old farm, something like that. Or I always thought that ferme was closed. So I did not actually look up the French translation for that, and I probably should. But my best guess would be that it's the old farm. It has like a picture of a chicken on it, which is great. But it was so tasty. We got it for our neighbors at first, but then we just kind of had the other bottle to ourselves. And surprisingly, good stuff. Really good. Like, not that expensive, but tasted really yummy. and was something I would definitely try again. And recommend. I would definitely recommend that. I definitely don't drink a lot of wine these days, but that one was a pleasant surprise. And I usually like rosé or like a fruity white wine. I like red wine, but I spill it so often that I don't usually drink it, so I don't have too much of an opinion on red wine, unfortunately. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Probably not going to do a ton of shading on this feather. Just enough, you know, just a little. Add a little contrast so these things will stick out a little bit more. Sometimes the Van Dyke Brown makes it a nice blend with the black. Oh, it's good too. Let's see. From far away, it looks pretty good. There's really only a little bit more that needs to be done. I think I'm going to go in with a little bit more Van Dyke Brown. There we go. My hands are getting cold too. I never think about that, but a lot of the times I need like gloves or something when I'm doing art. I never do it though because it's harder to work with your hands when you've got gloves on. So it sets you up for failure right from the beginning, which is not ideal. Kind of love how that looks. It's a little harder to see, but this Van Dyke Brown is definitely helping blend this black a little bit better. I'm just going to go over the black in other areas. Give it some more consistency, that kind of thing. I don't want to overdo it either. There's a nice delicate balance in painting. There's a delicate balance in everything, but it's easier to identify with painting. We're almost there. Getting there. I gotta remind myself not to be holding the palette over the actual piece. It's one of those other things I gotta get used to. It's like positioning myself with the thought that there's a camera nearby. I wonder if streaming on Twitch will make me a better speaker, like a public speaker, because I'm not like speaking towards an audience that I have to make eye contact with. I mean, kind of, but not really. But I do wonder. I think I've been using the word less and less with every stream. But that's something I gotta keep like paying attention to. Hi Lily! Excited to see you here. We're almost done with our feathers here. We're getting somewhere. Thinking, yeah, kind of looking in the camera to see what it looks like every now and then is a good thing for me. Because really, I mean, if I think about where the sign is going to be, it's going to be like by the mailbox, like hanging up. So if it looks good from far away, it's really all that matters. I mean, really. It's nice if it looks nice up close too, but not top priority. All right. I do enjoy my art streams. I like doing this. I definitely like streaming video games. That's probably my favorite, because while I do love doing the art and being able to do this on stream, there's so much more to work off of with the game, or with video games, and I absolutely and just love doing that. Either way, it's a good time here. We have fun. Like to have fun and have a good time. Okay, so as far as that goes, I'm pretty happy with how that looks. So now I just have to clean up the edges. See if any of this yellow and white is still usable. It looks like I'm gonna have to remix. Remix. I'm just kidding. Sorry. So I'm just gonna mix up a little bit more of this yellow, and then I think I'm gonna mix up a little bit more of the blue to clean up the edges around there, and then we'll use some turquoise, get the words kind of in a better shape than they're in, and then we can call it. Isn't that great? So now I have to remember what I just said I was going to do and do that. I'm going to put it in this little area. Probably a bit much. It's okay. Now the other thing I have to get better at is cleaning my palette when I'm done using it. Half of the time I just let it dry and then I peel it off because it is kind of satisfying to peel off the acrylic paint. But it would also be nice to have just like a completely clean palette every time. Not gonna lie. Oh, and it just occurred to me how much paint I've wasted doing this. Oh, this is the wrong color too. How do you like that? I need some of this. I must be getting more tired because I'm not on my tippy top. It is exactly like when you peel dried glue off your fingers. It feels so satisfying. But then you get like a thin layer like this, and it's not as good to peel. It's harder. And that's never fun. That's the kind of stuff I have to clean off. I have to get used to that too. Got a lot of yellow. It's way too much yellow. some of this white. Make a little patch of it over here. It's a little lighter. Crunchy. I don't know. I can't imagine paint as crunchy. But I guess it is. Oh, that cleaned up really quickly. It's actually pretty satisfying to just kind of go over and clean up the lines there. I wonder if you can see it get any like clearer as I just paint over the lines that are overstepping their bounds. Maybe I should get a heater for my room. I'm definitely the kind of person who likes the cold quite a bit, and I really can only sleep in the cold. But if I'm working in here with the door closed, I'm probably gonna need a heater at some point. Something I only just thought of now. Alright, this is where we get the really detailed stuff. I feel like I keep adding things to my to-do list for this too. I mean, as you paint, things change, and so you have to adjust. Just like with plans in life. You plan what you want to happen, but sometimes you have to leave room for unexpected occurrences. Or, you know, mistakes. Sometimes when I'm doing seriously delicate work like this, I'll actually hold my breath because I don't want my breathing to mess up the stroke that I'm making. It's kind of silly, but true. That's pretty good. I mixed up way too much paint for this. Story of my life. Oh, I think I can smell the barbecue pulled pork. I'm like getting hungry. We'll be done soon. I can go take care of that. Check on that in a second. Almost done. I do have a question though. Is the music too loud? I mean, on certain levels, I wonder if you can if it's hard to hear my voice at all. I can kind of hear a little bit of it through my headphones. So to me it sounds like an okay balance, but if it's too quiet or if I'm whispering too quiet or something, let me know. I will adjust things. Of course, at this point, it might be easier to just kind of finish it and adjust it on another stream, because we're pretty much done here. Actually, now that I look at it, I think we're done. No, that's right, the blue. Not at all, it's soft, good. Almost forgot the turquoise. This is the last bit. And I have like so many other brushes with me that I could use, but this is the only one I need. Only one I really need to work with. It's hard for me to tell how quiet the music is because it's coming through my mic, which I don't know why it's not like coming through in another, like through the desktop audio or something, but it's coming through in my mic audio more than anything, but it's not actually playing out loud on my computer. I don't know why. But so when I turn like the volume of the music up, I can hear it go up, but my voice stays the same. So it's really weird to me because it's like a disconnect. Total disconnect. So I have no idea how quiet it is for you guys, but I'm glad to have that feedback because I'll keep it as it is. There's a little bit of some like bare patches in the letters here. I want it to look as consistent as possible. I'm just gonna want to fill that in. Not to mention these down here need a second coat as well. And I figure if the paint fades, I'll still have the carving there underneath so you can kind of still see what's going on, which is kind of a nice thought, you know, even if the weather takes its toll on the colors, we'll still have what's underneath. Some more words of wisdom from your friendly neighborhood Twitch streamer. I'm just gonna have lots of things you can quote. It's all quotable. I expected this to be a longer stream than some of my last streams, but I don't know, getting used to how long it feels. 2 hours and 44 minutes. Sounds about right. And as of right now, I don't think we've stopped streaming at any point, so that's also a win in my book. We're still going. Hopefully it'll appear as all as one video. Or all as one piece when it uploads afterwards. I'm still trying to figure out how to get it to connect to my YouTube channel so that all of the videos can go up there as well. And it's also going to take some time. Very chill. That's an example of my mouth just opening up and saying whatever words were on my mind at that moment. Sometimes that happens. It's not like a conscious choice I made to say those words out loud. It just kind of happened. we are getting close now to being done. Go over the large hand lettering one more time, where I started over here already. And I would use a different brush, except for the fact that some of the letters are really, really tiny areas that need to be colored. So I don't want to use a bigger brush and then not want to switch just because I've got that in hand and then try and use that for some of the smaller areas. I'd much rather just like continue to use this small brush for the bigger areas just because I know when the smaller areas come up it'll be easier. If that makes any sense at all. Honestly, I say we're getting there, or we're coming close to being done, as much for your benefit as it is for mine. It's usually me just saying, yeah, hang in there, I'm getting close to being finished with this, and then we can stop for the day. Got other things to do. Not that I wouldn't love to paint all day, but at the same time, might not love to paint all day, I don't know. Do you ever start looking at crafts you can get into before you finish the crafts you're currently doing? Oh yeah, all the time. Looking at beads when you should not be looking at beads. Oh man, I do that all the time. I will have half-finished projects of crocheting, of, gosh, anything. I just bounce around from one to another. Or also just like pick up a new craft if I'm just feeling like bored of one for no particular reason whatsoever. That's why I have so many hobbies, so many crafts to choose from, because I just kind of bounce back and forth and get impatient with one and start another or learn something new. I want to say that's actually how I picked up certain skills, because I literally was not supposed to be looking at them and thinking about them, because I was supposed to be doing something else. I know how you feel. I think the gold is okay. I would usually do like a second coat of the gold as well, but I think it's not bad. I think this side had a few coats of the gold anyway. It's just a matter of getting the blue to show up clearly. I mean, there's a few areas where it looks like the white underneath the gold is more apparent than the gold itself, which kind of bugs me, but it's also not like the worst thing in the world, and I could live with it if I needed to, especially since I do have to do other things eventually, so I can't always nitpick my projects. I do tend to nitpick my projects a lot, where I'll just decide it's not done until I fixed all of these things, but then I never end up finishing it because I have to fix all those things, and then I always notice something else that needs to be fixed, so it can never be considered complete in my eyes. It's just a detriment to myself, really. But these are the things you notice when you get crafting habits like this. You learn about yourself, you make it through to the other side. Well, I'm probably gonna have to go over the gold. I just slipped a little bit, and the teal is far too into the gold than it should be. So I might need to do a little bit of a touch-up with that as well. Getting there. I used to do kind of like that K a lot better now that I've done the second coat on that. I also know I shouldn't choke up so far on my paint brushes as I do. We all have our bad habits. It's the illusion of control for me. Ugh, I'm starting to slip here. What the F have I done to this F? It's not that bad actually, but I will need to fix it a little bit. As if what I'm doing right now isn't fixing it, because it isn't, it's just making it worse. That sometimes happens. I'm not too upset though. So we're still chilling. We're still vibing. Oops. Story of my life. Okay. We're in the home stretch. I'm really just going to do the tiniest amount of gold touch-ups as possible. I've got the gold with me here. It's a really pretty color, but it shows a lot of the color underneath. So I had to do like 2 or 3 coats of it, which makes sense because it's basically just glitter with a paint base. So the glitter shows up. It's almost like the top coat of like nail polish that's just like a glitter coat, where it looks so nice in the bottle because all the glitter is dense, but then you put it on and it's like, oh, I need to do a million coats of this if I want it to look anything like I thought it would. It's kind of what it's like for this gold. It's a little better. Yeah. That's one of the things I'm not particularly fond of with acrylic paint, is the way that it gets a kind of sticky feeling to it. Even after it's dry, it still kind of remains a little sticky, which is, it's great when I need to like peel the paint off of my palette, because then it's easy to just peel. But when I'm resting my hand up against it, I'm always afraid that it's like still wet, or that I'm pulling something off of the paint, or the palette, or the canvas. That was the word I was looking for. Canvas. This is an unconventional canvas, but it's still canvas. Technically. It's not made of canvas, but it is the surface on which I am painting. And in that sense, it's a canvas. Sorry, I'm a bit of a word nerd. I like to discuss word meaning and usage probably more than is normal. But if you like that kind of thing, this is the best place for you. You join the channel thinking it's gonna be all chill paints and games, but secretly it's a linguistics podcast and you've been inducted involuntarily. Okay. These lines are really tiny. They're okay. I wasn't even going to do like every part of every letter in gold. I think I was just going to do like a little touch up here and there where it looks kind of light or faded or white. It does there. Or where I've messed up and need to cover up my mistakes. It's very easy to cover up your mistakes with acrylic paint. I once had a friend who said, you can just add more paint until it looks better when it comes to acrylic. Make a mistake, just add more paint. You mess up, put more paint on it. It's like duct tape, it's the cure-all. Another thing about this project that's been kind of challenging is that it has definitely been one of these projects that you kind of learn and get better at as you go along. So for example, I haven't painted with acrylics in years, and I had to get used to all of this again. Not to mention that, I'd never really done a lot of wood carving before. Sorry for kicking the camera there. So that was a completely new experience, and as I got used to carving the wood, I got better at it. But that means that everything that I did right in the beginning is not as good as it looked as I got better at it. So it's a kind of give and take. You win some, you lose some. The nice thing about acrylic paint is that by the time I forget that the paint was just painted, it's already dry. So when I accidentally, I'm kicking everything right now, I don't mean to be, but by the time I rest my hand somewhere it's not supposed to be resting, at least I don't pick up any paint. Because that could be a problem. And it was a problem when I was accidentally painting this board with oil paint. That was quite an experience. Didn't know I owned any oil paint. Just started painting with what I had. Turns out it was oil paint and it wasn't drying. So I had just a mess all over this board. The paint had stuck to my hand and I just kind of carried it everywhere. I don't want to do too much more of this, because it's not really making too much of a difference going over the gold. It's helping here and there. There really aren't a ton of places that I need to fix. And even if there were, I'm not the most patient person. I don't know if I'd have enough patience to sit through it. Am I holding the paint? Like, I keep holding my palette, like, right in the middle of the camera. I should just put it down somewhere. Sorry. Noisy. That might help. I can just keep my hand behind my back, my other hand, not the one I'm using to paint, obviously. Just go with it. K is mostly gold. It's just like a little strip of blue. Now I can fix this F that I effed up. Not bad so far. It is so frustrating to work with. I mean, I was like taught with acrylic paint, so I don't even know where I would begin with oil paint, and the fact that like it's such a common medium to work with, I can't even imagine. Like, I don't know the first thing about making oil paint dry or how long you have to wait, or oh gosh, I wouldn't be patient enough for it even as is. Like, sometimes it's frustrating that the acrylic dries so quickly, but I'd rather have that than have oil paint never dry on me and just drag it everywhere, because that is my most common habit. It's just dragging the paint everywhere. So I'll just stick my hand in it for no reason. I'm so ready to be done with this project. I have been looking forward to this moment for so long. And I have been putting off painting the feathers for quite a long time too, because I figured they'd be the most complicated, because it's less about filling in the lines that I've carved and more about really just kind of painting a canvas again, which is something I hadn't done in a while, as I previously stated. And back in high school, I painted a mural on a wall, painted for a whole summer. Took a very famous painting and adapted it so it was like part of our school image. It was weird, but it was a fun summer being able to do that. I mean, you hate going to school in the summer, but if you're painting the walls, not so bad, honestly. I will never forget that moment either. The one time you joined us, we were all eating, what was it, like, Rehoboth House of Pizza or something, and then the janitor was just, I don't even remember if he was aware of us being there or anything, but that was still such a funny moment. Oh goodness. All right. I'm declaring this done. I think we are done here. It has been a little over 3 hours, so our longest stream yet, but we are done. I get to put the finishing spray on it tomorrow so that it'll be nice and resilient against the elements outside, and then I drill the holes in it, put the eyelets in so that we can hang it, and then it is done, and I get to wrap it for Christmas. Thank you so much. I'm really happy with how it looks, and I had a lot of fun doing it. So thank you all for joining me. I'm really glad to have had so many people to talk to on this stream. It was a lot of fun, and I hope to see you guys again, or talk to you guys again in one of my other streams. Don't forget, Mondays are always art streams. This Tuesday I'm doing a nail art stream, so tomorrow. Then Wednesday I'm doing a video game stream, and then Friday I'll probably move that stream to another day, whether it's over the weekend or Thursday. I'm not sure yet, but I'll probably do a Stardew Valley stream then, because that'll be fun, and I love that idea. So thank you. I'm so happy I finished it. And yeah, I guess that's it. So see you later.